Welcome to GTC's Teaching Tidbits. Each episode, we explore a teaching technique, tip, practice, or idea from faculty for faculty. And in our current set of episodes, we focus on teaching hybrid blended and or fully online courses. And in today's episode, we are happy to have joining us from the Curriculum and Instructional Support Center, Michelle Vlaich-Lee. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, we're so glad to have you. Would you tell us a little bit about your background and some of the format or formats in which you've taught?
Thank you. Yes, I'll be glad to. Um, when I first came here to Greenville Tech, I got to start in the computer lab, so I worked with students there. And then when I came on full-time, I managed and taught CPT 101, which is now CPT 170. And I taught it face-to-face, taught it hybrid, taught it online, even back in the day of the WebCT days. So I've seen online come a long way. I've also been fortunate to teach with the CPT department and the AOT department. And now I'm teaching, now that I'm with Curriculum and Instructional Support, I have been teaching the COL 111 course and, when available, any other courses. So I am fortunate to be able to teach online and so glad I get to work with faculty.
Thank you for giving us a little sense of your background, which also leads perfectly into why you are here today. One important element to consider when creating and using materials in any course is the issue of accessibility.
Yes.
And it can be challenging to know and even remember all that one needs to do to ensure that the materials we are using meet that accessibility and are available for all students. So Michelle is going to introduce us to a Blackboard tool that can assist with making sure documents are accessible. And that tool is called Ally. So Michelle, I am going to turn it over to you to share your teaching tidbit.
And I'm going to share my screen. And right now you're looking at the core course, Certified Online Trained Educators. And I'd like to share with you accessibility in PowerPoint folder. With Ally, it is a built-in integrated software within Blackboard that allows us on many levels for the instructor to be able to share content that is accessible for students. For the student, they're able to choose an alternative format if they like. And for the institution can determine how accessibility is going in their courses, where resources can be directed to help improve it too. And we're going to look at how the alternative formats work for the students and what you can do to improve your course and also the documents. Now, right here, you see an alternative format that a student would get, and that is allowed to use. And this shows different versions of how they can read that content. And I'm going to cancel out of this at that moment, but that would only be this item right here. And if I scroll down, they still have access to that. If you notice the PowerPoint, this is a web-based lesson in SoftChalk. Ally cannot determine the accessibility of that document. But as I scroll down here, I have two different documents here, one showing a meter in red, one showing a meter in green. The green one is the instructions, and my students would not be fixing that, so that one should be as near close to 100% as possible, definitely in the green. And if I click it from here, it takes me into Ally. And it's telling me I don't have a title on that PDF, so it's not at 100%. I'm going to close that. Unfortunately, the other document, has a red one, and its accessibility score is low. It needs to improve. This is a document that my students will fix. But as you can see, because it's a low score, it's telling me, Ally is telling me, as I go through this PowerPoint, what are the areas that need attention? And if you notice very quick on this right here, if I fix this document as the instructor, now my students are fixing this document, but if I need to fix it as an instructor, I can fix it in the original PowerPoint and drag and drop it over here, right here, and it will not only update in Blackboard, but it will keep all the links, which is very nice if you have a document that you need to improve, need to fix and also keep linked. Now, it would be difficult to go and access all your files that need to be corrected right here. But a quick way to do it is to go to the content collection in your course, click on that, and it should show you all the files in your course. In this case, 2 files, they're pretty good shape. They're in the green. You have an accessibility column, that's what you're looking for. But if you note, this file here doesn't have any, have a meter associated with it. It means it's not deployed in my course somewhere. I can delete that file. So it's a nice way not only to identify files that need to be fixed or corrected for accessibility, but also files you can delete. If I go into a folder, it takes a moment for the meters to show up. But again, you would just work your way through it, clicking on a document on the meter, and it will open up Ally, and you can see where you need to, what you need to fix. I'm going to close that out. Where else can you go to fix these, to access these documents? If you go into Course Tools and launch your accessibility report, I do want to mention students might be able to see this. Don't worry, they can click on the link, but it's not going to launch a report for them. And this gives you an overall for your course. How are you doing? Now it looks pretty good that I'm at 93%. I'm in the green, but there's still areas I can fix, and it gives you an overall on your course. I can click on things that are easiest to fix or low content, or go and scroll, and it tells me more information on items that I need to fix. This is a good way for you to get an idea in your course, what you need to do, how it's doing, and what else you can do for your students. Again, it's benefiting you as the instructor on providing accessible content. Your students have alternative ways of viewing that content, and it helps the institution itself. What always helps is when you're in Word or PowerPoint or whatever document or resource you're using, even Google Docs, it is always good to start with a clean document as much as possible. Microsoft Office is very good, and I moved it to a really bad location. Microsoft Office is really good about providing check for issues. There's check accessibility. And if you start here, you can clean up a lot of issues before you ever put in this document into Blackboard. It won't catch everything. Ally primarily checks more for the headings and contrast issues, but you'll get your alt text for your images, your tables, and any other issues it will help identify and make it easier for you as you go. So again, to find that, if you go to File, it's on the info link, check for issues, and check accessibility. It's in Office 2019. It's been there since really 2010, and it's in Office 365. It's another really good tool to use before you ever get to Blackboard. So I hope you feel a little more confident about using Ally and checking the accessibility in your course. Of course, if you have questions, please contact me at the Curriculum and Instructional Support Center. My name is Michelle Vlaich-Lee.
Thank you so much, Michelle, for being here and for sharing those tidbits with us today. It's helpful to know that there is such an easy tool right within Blackboard to check what we may already have in there, but then also that additional help to think about what you're doing with your documents before you even get them into Blackboard, which will save a lot of time. And I know that that's going to answer some questions and help faculty make sure that they're able to get their documents into that accessible format and available to all of our students. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Glad to. Thank you for having me.
Well, as Michelle already said, if you'd like to continue the conversation, please don't hesitate to reach out to Michelle, and I put her email address here on the screen. And if you have questions you'd like answered or specific topics that you'd like to see covered in the series, please reach out and let me know. You can email me at rachel.cobb@gvltec.edu. And as always, if you have a teaching tidbit worth sharing, or you know someone who does, please let me know. We would love to invite you or those other individuals onto the series as a guest to share those important elements with all of our faculty here at GTC. Well, that's this week's GTC Teaching Tidbit, and we will see you next time.